everybody. Time to rise and shine. I'm Shelby Barrett, the Stoned for the Stoned Roadie Show, and it's time to wake and bake with Craig Reed and Griff Martin.
The Stoned Roadie Show, podcast 202. Wake and Bake the Morning Buzz number 81. Action. Alrighty then, looky here, fellow Earthlings. Yeah, it's Monday. It's back to work Monday on this Wake and Bake morning show number 81. And yeah, my name's Craig Reed, a.k.a. the Stoned Roadie, and as known in some small circles as the most famous roadie that ever existed since the dawn of time, since the dinosaurs roamed the flat earth, and my co-host, the rocket scientist, Griff Martin. So what are we going to talk about this fine Monday morning there, Griff?
Well, we've got part 7 of the Gene Odom interview, and I think I can make that the final. Part 7 will probably be the final. If I push it out anymore, it's just going to be too much. And I think he's going to talk about Ronnie next, and then the Honkettes. So a lot of people disagreeing with Gene in the comments. We had a lot of comments. We had like 225 comments, and like 100 of them were Kimmy, which Kimmy, you keep them coming. We appreciate your comments. You comment just as much as you want. We appreciate all the comments and everybody that's adding to the comments for us, because it makes for good skin formation. And sometimes it jogs Craig's memory whenever you ask a question and we go off into a whole nother category. And so we got plenty of comments to talk about, and then congratulations to Tom Hills on El Kabong. That's already been put in the mail. It's on its way. Unlike Craig's mailing skills, my mailing skills are up to par. I'm caught up, Craig, with my mailing.
Well, my winner, our the winner with the Blaze, you know, he's kind of local here, and so he's already got his too.
Oh, does he? Did he like it?
Oh yeah. I didn't have any decals left, so because I sent them down there with Leaky. You know, Leaky didn't win, but I like the name El Kabong. That's a good one.
Yeah, I didn't really know what that cartoon was, and I have to say, I didn't know what it was. I probably seen it before. Maybe it's before my time or something, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty neat, that cartoon. I did look it up. And
it's kind of a coinkydink that he's hitting over the people over the head with a
guitar. I know.
Kabong! It's like, wake up, people, and hit them in the head with a guitar. Kabong! Wake up, you dumbass! Kabong!
It's pretty funny.
It's like when you hit that bong and hit that water pipe, you know, and you pull back, and that's what your head goes. Kabong!
Yeah, that's a pretty good name.
Blaze, you know, that was our market name, so we can.
Well, that's your nickname that that's Steve Perry
marketing name, since the name of that place is Blazing. That's a classic. But we can have, you know, that we can have two different models. We got the Blaze model and the El Kabong model.
And I'll make some more bongs. We're calling them water pipes.
Yeah,
we're calling them. And we'll give another one away. And we're gonna hold off though on giving stuff away till Craig catches up. It's getting out of hand now. He needs if it get too many, you know, that he's gonna lose track, I'm afraid. So
I got everything wrote down. I'm getting it together. First thing I'm gonna do is send out everybody's money, and then let everybody know, you know, and now, you know, put together a sheet on, I'm trying to do it right. I'm trying to put together a sheet on everybody that donated, and and actually mention everybody's name that donated and how much they donated, and then come up with a grand total, and then how much everybody's getting, so there's no controversy on how much money was taken in and how much was given out.
Yeah.
So that's why it's taken me so long. I'm trying to get it together so it's what do you call it? Transparent, yeah, like the Democrats. So it's transparent.
Well, the
Not like the
reason it's
Democrats.
taken so long, it might have something to do with something you smoked.
Oh yeah, that well, I've had issues. I got brain damage, and I got mental illness, and I've had computer issues, and
Well, what people don't realize though is Craig's got a big eBay store, and it's not like he doesn't he hasn't been doing anything on eBay lately because all his time's been taken up with the podcast, but he is an expert packager and mailer. And he sent the bong back to me. I mean the water pipe back to me, leaky, and then I fixed it up and sent it out. So he and I are square. He sent me my package, so I'm good.
yeah,
But
I
I'll
had to
keep on his
sign.
ass.
He said, "I'm going to send you some bases and sign them." And I said, "Okay." So he sent me 24 of them dang things. They're one
I
side's
think I got
smooth and the other
23
side's
back.
kind of not so smooth. But the side that's smooth is the side upside, But
Right.
the side that's not so smooth is the sound downside, and that's the side that I signed. So it's a little hard. It's not so hard, but it's a little bit difficult. You know.
But, how cool is that to have a pipe that Craig Reed signed? Because he is kind of like in certain circles, like Cheech and Chong, he's a stoned roadie and
Well, those stickers that Dave the Disciple makes for us, those are one of a kind. I
oh
mean,
yeah, I
no
know.
one has those.
That's right.
Those are
Yeah.
some cool stickers. Nobody has those.
I
So
think
these
it's
are
going to
these
be
are these are
collectible.
definitely one of a kind collector's items.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's it could make a good stocking stuffer for your drug addict kids.
And yeah, I'll even send them a document of author. I seen you send them. You gave them a little document
Yeah,
with
I
it that
type
you made it, and
I
I
type
can
it
I
on this
can I can
typewriter
write
right
him up
here.
a document too, and send it to him, and say he wanted on the drawing on the Stone Roadie show. You know,
Mine's only on like a little 4x5 card.
yeah,
I
yeah.
keep and I type
It
it
looks
on
cool
this.
though.
This was my grandfather's typewriter right here, and I type it on that. It's an old Royal, and it's kind of gives it a little nostalgic look whenever you get a letter of authenticity off of that. Yeah, whenever
I
people
have one
like,
of those typewriters like that too. One of
I had to
those.
send off for a ribbon because that ribbon's kind of drying up, and I need to get a new ribbon. But I've been selling these little Hell House Doc necklaces like crazy. People really liking those. And if you want one, um, I'll put the email up here for you can contact me. And then I'm kind of taking orders for some of those water pipes too. And and I'm not like um, I don't have a lot of free time on my hands, but these little necklaces I can get out fast. But those water pipes, they might take a little while, but I can make them pretty fast. But send me an email and we'll talk about it. Yeah. So, Greg, did we get any donations or anything
Oh
lately?
God, yeah. Thanks for reminding me. I'm sucking on my cup of coffee here. Yeah, thank you, TP. I want to thank you for that cup and that soap. And yeah, I like that soap. Oh, what was the kind of soap is that you said? Well, it's Buchanan, but I forget the fragrance it is now. But yeah, yeah. Let me see here. Yeah, Jimmy J. Jimmy J, the winner of a couple weeks ago, he had number 3. Jimmy J won the drawing. Jimmy J. Smith and his lovely wife Angie.
That was very nice.
And I got proof that she is quite lovely. And yeah, Jimmy J. and
very nice.
His wife Angie sent $25, and that goes into the general fund. And then there's
thank you there, Jimmy J. and your lovely wife.
His lovely wife Angie. And Jimmy J had kind of a request. He goes, I know I ain't nobody. And he said, but you guys talked about, putting guests on. He said, I'd like to be a guest on your show and just talk about, what it's been like for me to be a fan of Lynyrd Skynyrd all my life,
Well, maybe we'll let him do a co-host.
That's what I told him. I said, yeah, we do that. When Griff took some time off, I said, I asked Kathy Guys that he'd come on and be my co-host, because she was a special guest because she met Alan and she did pretty good. So I asked her to come on and co-host for me. So she did. No, she's got co-hosting for a couple of years now. And then we had Brian Gibbons on a couple weeks ago. Talked about some things. And yeah, we've had just regular fans on. That's pretty cool that, a lot of bands don't have kind of like forums where, a lot of bands, I don't know how to say this, a lot of bands don't have people like them because of their songs. And this band has a different type of Lynyrd Skynyrd has kind of like a different cult type following, and they've been gone for almost 50 years, and there's still people that have these memories of Lynyrd Skynyrd, from those days, and that's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool, because Lynyrd Skynyrd was always known to be a band of the fans. They've really kind of always been known for that, and I should know because I've been around most of those years. They've always been, appreciated their fans and had a good fan base. But it's kind of neat to have a show like this and just have people who were fans 50 years ago talk about their experience going to shows and stuff. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I'm going to be going to Oklahoma pretty soon, coming up here, and then that's gonna leave some time for Craig. We could probably maybe that's what we should do. Get some fans to come on and co-host with Craig while I'm gone, and then I can watch it while I'm on the road, and that would be cool as hell.
I don't know, co-hosting to be kind of. I don't know if I could. Jimmy J, the only reason he said he could do this was because I asked him if he's familiar with Zoom. He goes, "Oh yeah, his company, what he does, he's in the boiler industry, and he a lot of the stuff that they do is through Zoom, so he's familiar with Zoom." But I don't know how good he is at it,
Well, you don't have to talk about exclusively Lynyrd Skynyrd. You could talk about anything. Like a good example, like I was telling Craig before we came on here today, I was out messing around, cutting around this tree with a weed trimmer, and these freaking yellow jackets, man, came out of this hole, and I ain't kidding. They formed just like in the cartoons. Craig, you remember those cartoons, how those bees, they would come out of the hive and they would form into an arrow, and that's how they did. They came out and they formed into an arrow, and they were chasing me, and they freaking got me, and they nailed me in the ear. I got 5 times in this right ear, and then my hand got all ate up. And they're not bees though. They're yellow jackets.
Jackets. Yeah,
they don't
live
leave
in
a
the ground.
stinger.
Yeah.
Oh my God, those things hurt.
I told Griff to go out there at nighttime and pour a quart of gasoline down in the hole and then pour a little fuse away from it, light it, and get
That's
back
what I
up to
did. I
bed.
went back to spray it with some wasp spray. I got bit 5 times. It was kind of like the assassination attempt. I was hit like 8 times. There was eight attacks. It was like I went back the second time and then they nailed me 3 more times. So I said, well, I'm just going to go in the house. And then I was just kind of cooling off and sitting in the house. And then I started watching this thing on YouTube. And this is kind of like up your alley, Craig. Craig, you ever remember this guy? He was basically worked for Horizon Airline. I think it was up in Washington, and he used to back the planes in and out and stuff. And he stole frickin' uh, a Bombardier Q400 twin engine. You remember that guy? He stole the frickin' plane, and he was just 21-year-old kid, and
Yeah, and then he
he
crashed it.
yeah, he gets in the plane and then he takes off, and they go, well, how do you know how to fly that? And he goes, well, I like to play video games. And they're like, it's a lot more complicated than a video game. And he was flying the thing great. And then he keeps asking them, hey, how do you do barrel rolls and flips in this thing? And they're like, you can't. And he goes, well, I'm going to do it anyway. And he did it. And they got it on video. The guy doing flips and rolls and a big commuter twin engine plane. It's crazy. And
Well, my simulator, you can take a plane and it's got all of the starting sequence. If you know the sequence, you can actually go through and throw all the switches and do everything that you normally do, or you can have it do it automatically. I just have it do it automatically. But I mean, if did a search, you could go on YouTube and it goes through the sequence, and then you could actually do it on the simulator and do it. Yeah,
well, that's what he
it,
must have done because
yeah, you can
and
do
what's
it.
crazy is they have it all on camera and he backed the plane out and all these people are like walking by like, they figured he knew what he was doing, that he was just working there. And so he gets in a plane and he starts up the engines and then he backs it out and then he disconnects it from the tug and goes and puts the tug away and the plane's rolling, because there's nobody in it. And you can see this. Yeah, man, you got to go on YouTube and watch this guy, Richard Russell. He was 28 years old. And just Google Richard Russell steals the plane. And then he pulls the stairs down and climbs up, and the plane's rolling the whole time. And he gets in there and he goes out on the tarmac and then there's a couple pilots are like, hey man, there's a guy just butting in front of me. And and he goes, his wheels are smoking for some reason. And he shows him taking off like a pro. The guy was flying like a pro. And then when he's talking to him, the tower, he's just as nice as he can be. He's like, man, I'm sorry I did it and everything, but he goes, but I just, it's just, I wanted to go see. He wanted to go see some mountains, Mount Rainier. He wanted to go see Mount Rainier in the Olympics or something. And then he goes, well, I guess I'm going to go to jail for the rest of my life. And then he just crashes it and kills himself. Really interesting story. And it's right up Craig's alley with that whole damn flight simulation thing. I just got a kick out of that guy. I really,
Well, they're
and that,
they're harder to land than they are to take off. I
yeah.
think. I don't
Well,
know.
insurance, I think they said it was like a $28 million plane or something, and insurance paid for all of it. It didn't hurt anybody, but he died having fun. It was crazy. I just, I remember hearing about it, but I never did see the story on it. So, but anyway, we got some comments and questions here to go over, and we can go ahead and do that now, Craig, and then we'll do the Gene Odom part 7 and wrap that up. And and that'll be it for another podcast. A lot of people commenting on that new Wake and Bake mug.
Oh
That's
yeah,
that's pretty
yeah.
cool.
Let me. I found the card here. Uh, yeah. Like I said, TP sent me this, and she said it's from Richard with Rock Forever Entertainment in San Diego, California. So, yeah, thank you, Richard from Rock Forever Entertainment. I love your mug, and a lot of other people do. So, yeah, Rock Forever Entertainment, Richard. Yeah, you're our
Yeah,
VIP of the day.
and that's a cool mug. And you said we didn't even get demonetized on our last
No,
podcast,
no,
and
I
you were
don't. That's
smoking.
AI can tell that that's a. Yeah, I guess they don't can't distinguish between a coffee mug and a water pipe. So
Yeah, maybe that's it.
I guess we found a loophole on my ability to wake and bake with y'all. So
Plus, if I say that this podcast is for entertainment purposes only, that might help us too, because I notice a lot of podcasters are saying that now, that this is for entertainment purposes only. So maybe that'll help us. And they, even
yeah,
though,
all those flat Earth people trying to convince you that there's a flat Earth. They all say that's for entertainment purposes only. Yeah,
yeah,
a lot of them
that's
are
what.
saying that now.
But they're bombarding us, the social media, with conspiracy theory stuff. It's like there's a campaign to get people to wake up to it, because they're just, every time you turn around, like on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, they're talking about flat Earth and how the moon landing was a sham, and then they're talking about chemtrails. And then I saw a thing about, and Craig and I were just talking about how the Jersey Shore, the water's real, looks like the Bahamas over there, and it's always been dirty browns, and they're like, why is it so clear looking? Something's weird going on, right?
Yeah, and I've been watching stuff about like going through the Wild West days. You know, we were kind of brainwashed into Bonanza and Rawhide and all that portrayal of the
Big
of,
Valley.
of the all that portrayal of the old West. That's brainwashed into us, and some of the stuff that was happening like through the gold rush in San Francisco and all the great big buildings and stuff
Oh yeah, they
kind of
say that.
indicates that that's kind of not the way things were altogether. There's a lot of history been hidden from us, and when you think about how we're brainwashed to think the way, wagon train and all that kind of stuff. I mean, probably a lot of it did happen the way it did. I mean, a lot of that civil. I mean, I was out there and I saw where, Custer's Last Stand and and
Well, the gold rush, that was real.
yeah, and when they went across the country and the first people across the country that froze to death, what was the I don't know, a lot of that stuff, but a lot of stuff that was hidden from us. There's some architecture that was here then that's
Yeah,
kind of
they say that was.
not explainable.
Yeah,
It's,
they said that the World's Fair, that they would build these buildings in 2 years, and they were these grand. Like, they even said that the White House, they don't believe that was constructed the way they claim it was. And then when you look at some of these ruins, and they show ships and these carvings in the caves, and they're like, that's bullshit. Christopher Columbus didn't discover, the Americas. That, there were people here long before that. It's just, I think, some of it, man, you don't even really want to know. I mean, I kind of like, just think of all the people, if it's not true about the moon landing or if the earth is flat, all the people that have died thinking all that was real, and it's just bullshit.
Well, everybody, a lot of people knows about Admiral Byrd, went down to the South Pole, Antarctica, and there's a lot of rumors about him saying stuff that he saw stuff down there, and apparently he got to a point where, in his plane, where he was they just took the plane over and took him into the center of the earth and all kind of stuff, and he wrote 2 books about all this stuff, and came back and he was talking all about it, and the government told him to shut his damn mouth and don't talk about it, and pretty soon he was dead.
They're like Tesla.
And then NASA started shortly after that, and then in 1957 they started that Antarctica treaty with 6 or 7 different countries, and you're not allowed to go down there. You cannot go down past the South Pole. You can't do it. You'll be shot down by not only the United States, but there's like 6 other countries. But these people that are trying to prove that the Earth is a sphere tell you that, oh, that's bullshit. We fly around the world every day, circumvent the Earth every day, east and west, south, north and south, and east and west. That's bullshit. It's never been done. It's never been circumvented north, and the South Pole's never been flown over. As far as things that I've seen, it's never been done. Why? There's a reason why. I mean, that doesn't even make sense, So
well, all I can say
that's all I'm saying. It's illegal to even try. Why?
If they find out that the moon landing was a hoax, that's going to piss a lot of people off right there. So,
well, what about the mirrors that they put up on the moon? To shine those lasers in to tell how far away the moon actually was, because that's the way they were. I mean, I'm doubting whether we did it either. But I saw today where someone was saying that somebody went up there and put mirrors on the moon, and you can see them, I guess. I got to get my telescope out here.
Yeah, you need to get your telescope.
I need to get my telescope out. I've never used. I got that telescope a couple years ago just because I thought I wanted one, and it's a real cool one. It's a Meade 8-inch, and it's a star. What do they call it? A light switch. And you just put it up, and it knows where it's at, and you just kind of tell it where to go, and it'll tell you it'll go there. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty nice one. It's got all the shit. Some guy had it and got disabled and couldn't use it anymore and needed the money, and I bought it off of him off market.
Yeah, we'll set it up and then report back to us.
Yeah, and it's got LED screens, and it's a nice one, yeah.
And that kind of bring us into the comments where Ban Everything made the comment, says they have mapped the moon with both radar and high-resolution orbiters, and the Apollo mission images were verified. So were the landing sites. Multiple nations have taken images of the Apollo landing sites, and so they've pretty much been proven. Well, they can lie about anything. They can manipulate. They can do whatever they want. I mean, we would like to think that everybody was doing what they were supposed to do, but anymore, like I said,
show you a picture. People can just about show you a picture of anything these days.
Yeah,
I mean, good God, that's crazy.
I mean, if they can,
is that all the proof you got?
If they can trick you to thinking that Michelle Obama doesn't have a penis, they can do anything. But it was swinging on the Ellen DeGenerate show. when she was dancing.
I know. I know. Old Joe has grown about 5 inches.
6 inches. Yeah.
He's grown about 5 inches, and from what I understand, when he got that COVID thing, they took him to the hospital. It was an emergency situation, and it's been hush hushed, and I guess they took him to the hospital, and then they rushed him right back to Washington, and yeah, it's kind of just they've been real quiet about it. But he wasn't wearing a mask. Whoever that was on the plane that was supposed to have COVID wasn't wearing a mask, so he couldn't give it to anybody else. That was really weird. He was supposed to have COVID, and he wasn't even wearing a mask, and nobody else was. That was
they don't
weird.
care
And then all of a sudden, he's grown 5 inches.
Well, they stole the election, and that's why they needed the whole COVID thing, so they could get people to do mail-in ballots, and they're not past doing that again. So be ready. I've even been seeing more and more as I go out. They must be another COVID thing or something, because I'm seeing a lot of people wearing masks, walking down the sidewalk and
it's a bird flu. Yeah, it's a bird flu. Yeah, but what's her name? Kamala. She had a rally the other day at an old folks home. There was 67 people there, and those were the people that lived at the old folks home. And at the same day, Mr. T had a rally. Their building only held 8,000 and 8,500, and they put another 500 in there, and so there was like 15,000 people there, and there was.
But the polls are saying Kamala's ahead now.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, there's so much gaslighting. It's ridiculous. It's almost funny. I mean, it's it's like we're living in a movie, a real life movie. But there are people out there that believe all this crap. There's still some people out there. They're still out there. I
saw a guy in the grocery store today with rainbow colored hair, and I guarantee you he believes it.
There was some 80-year-old man putting up a Trump sign in his front yard, and somebody ran him over with a 4-wheeler.
No way.
Yeah, in a little town, that if they can't catch that person, because it's a little suburb, if they can't catch it, I mean, in the first place, you can't. The type of 4-wheeler that he had's not street legal, and if it's in a small town, I mean, they gotta know who the guy was. It's crazy, yeah, but you never see any conservatives doing stuff like that. It's always the left. It's always
the mental ill people.
Yeah, it's always they say that we're the ones that are that are going to start stuff and be crazy, and they're already crazy.
And then they got that Olympic thing.
Oh my God, that I won't even watch it.
And then they had like about 7 or 8 Down syndrome drag queens. They were singing, and I'm like, they recruited those.
I don't know. I'm no psychiatrist. I think I've said that before, but I don't know if somebody with Down syndrome could identify as another sex. I don't
unless they're coached.
The ability to do that. I don't think they have enough self-identity to do that.
Unless they're coached.
In my opinion. I mean, I'm no psychiatrist. I got brain damage. What the hell I know, but
they probably, they feel more accepted if, they got some drag queens pulling them in there going, you ought to dress up. You're a drag queen now, that's what you are now. And then,
well, there's a lot of people that act like they have Down syndrome these days. A lot of people.
Well, we'll move along to the next comment here. David Selders, he says he was laughing about my comment about that Monica Lewinsky dress down there at the Smithsonian with the black light on the royal jelly on the dress. But I wouldn't put it past them. That would make a good display. I think they still have that dress, and that's the reason I was kind of back then when I told that guy about that, they were talking about they had that dress still. And I don't think back then they had the whole DNA thing going on, but you can't get away with stuff like that now with this DNA. So yeah, so they could have had old Bill dead to rights. But he didn't get in trouble for anything. Mr. T, though, he's been indicted more times than Al Capone.
Well, what they said Kamala was doing to Willie Brown.
Oh yeah, right. Home wrecker.
They said he bought her a BMW because she deserved it. He was married. But he bought Kamala a BMW because she deserved it.
Yeah, she
she earned it. That's what it was. He said she earned it. Yeah.
Well, she was trashing old Vance, and then he came back and responded, and he slammed her. There's some good TV. I mean, these Trump rallies and stuff like that. There's some good TV on right now. I mean, if you don't have anything to watch, I mean,
well, they're not done. They still think they're going to win. They're far from done.
Oh no, they're going to pull that October surprise.
Oh, I don't think it's going to. I don't know what's going to happen, but that whatever's going to happen, it's kind of they're kind of checkmating us.
It's going to be big.
I mean, I'm looking at it as like the country's in check. Yeah, I mean, not checkmate, but it's in check. Yeah, that's for dang sure.
And no, Roy Cox says, was talking about that soap that TP sent you. Says, Bruce Cannon has a bunch of great products.
Duke Cannon, not Bruce.
Oh, it's Duke? Okay,
Duke.
I don't know. I don't know if he said Bruce or
not
Duke.
Bruce. Bruce. Bruce
Cannon. Oh, you got some Bruce Cannon soap?
It's not Bruce. It's Duke. That's Duke. There's a lot of difference between Duke and Bruce.
It says that they got a lot of great products. I love the Buffalo Track soap and Beard Balm. I never heard of it, but then again, I was thinking it was Bruce Cannon. And
it's a big ass bar of soap, man. It lasts it's like a Tootsie Roll. It lasts a long time. Yeah.
Well, that was nice of TP to send.
Oh yeah, she's cool, man. She sends me that coffee I drink every morning on the Wake and Bake.
Then old Joseph Yema says he loves Gene. He loves Gene, but he finds it hard to believe his story about Gary. And,
I haven't watched those back. I tell you, I haven't.
And then he said, and then Job 962 says, Craig had a bit of an overtoke at 1920 on the minutes on the last podcast. You must have had an overtoke I didn't know about when you were coughing.
Yeah,
1920.
Sometimes I take a hit like that. And it's hard to talk, you know.
Yeah, you were kind of. You were in the middle of a toke.
I'm trying. I asked
you a question, and then you had to answer the question, and you were still.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I'm just me. I gotta be me.
Then Ketone says he hopes he's still getting something from the tackle box. That's what Craig said on the show that I won when I won.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said he was getting something from. I don't know if I remember that.
What show was it? We'll have to go back and review that.
Send Craig an email at the.
Tell me what podcast it was and what Mark was and what I said.
Yeah, he claimed that you.
And we'll review it and see what we said.
Yeah, he claims that you said you were promised him something out of that tackle box. I don't remember that,
Yeah.
I remember you saying that you would give something away out of the tackle box.
Did
but
I?
don't
Okay, yeah.
I don't remember you promising.
I
to
know there's
any-
some. I know there's a few bobbers in there. I'll give
but
him. I'll
but
give
I
him a
don't remember
bobber.
you
I
promising
remember.
anything to anybody.
I'll get. No, I'll find that damn thing. There's a few bobbers in there. I was not. Because I remember because I had that goofy bobber that I sold on eBay, but I found another one that's exactly like it was though. That's a goofy bobber. But yeah, there's a few bobbers in there.
That just goes to show you. I wonder if Ronnie went and bought that damn bobber somewhere. Or
Oh, that's hilarious.
somebody
Yeah.
gave it to him, or
Probably found it in a truck stop or something.
yeah.
I don't know.
That's pretty cool though. Old Ronnie
Yeah,
had
yeah.
a goofy bobber. And Laura Johnson says, Griff, you need to go to Craig's house and help him find everything he's missing. And then, yeah, well, I
You know
agree
what?
with that. Yeah.
I'm gonna, soon as I get all this stuff shipped out, I got some stuff coming up this fall I'm getting prepared to do. But yeah, I needed to, before the winter time comes, I'm gonna be liquidating a lot of stuff.
Well, like I said, I'll come up there
lot
with
of
a
stuff.
camera and I'll bring a helper, and then we'll just go in there and start digging and rooting around, and it'd be like going to some tomb of, some lost tomb of, I mean, there would be so much cool stuff, I guarantee, in that attic.
I
that
just
you don't
got,
even know about.
I probably have 10 printers that printers and scanners and copiers and fax machines and stuff that I still have that I never threw away that probably still work, if I just put cartridges in them. And I still have I always kept all the boxes for everything, like all these lights and stuff. I bought for this podcast and stuff. I still have all the boxes. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of do that too, and then after I wait to see if
It's
gonna
amazing if
break.
you have the original box for something. It's easy to return.
Yeah.
And I just got in the habit of keeping all the boxes. I need to just close my eyes and start throwing stuff away because I'll never use any of that stuff again. I hate to throw it away because there's really nothing wrong with some of that
They
stuff.
call
It
that
just
when
needs
you-
cartridges.
when
Probably
you
a
don't-
lot of that stuff just needs ink cartridges and stuff. But I'm not going to use it anymore.
Yeah, it's like I've got a couple VCR machines that, what am I going to do with that? And they say after a period of time, those tapes, they get brittle.
Oh
and
God, I've got 500 VCR HS tapes. I've probably got 300 beta tapes.
But what's on there?
Old stuff, just old Saturday Night Live and old
Oh,
fights and
Was it stuff that you
a lot
guys
of
kinda
lot of NASCAR racing,
watching
a lot
on
of
the
fights.
bus? Were you
Huh?
using those, watching them on the bus and stuff like that?
No, it was just when Sony Betamax yeah, the beta machines, yeah, Sony. Yeah, when those came out, God, the tapes were like $35 a piece or something. They were crazy expensive. I probably got 300 of them things. But yeah, I got all kind of stuff.
Oh, what
on
were you
beta.
guys watching them when you were driving on the bus, though?
I
or
just had
something
them
like
for at home.
that? Yeah.
When Chad was growing up, Chad grew up on beta tapes, that I had.
Yeah, I mean, that was state of
I
the
mean,
art. back then.
but when Showtime was going on back then, and I
Yeah.
used to tape a lot of put a lot of stuff off of Showtime. I have on tape. I used to have it all on. Used to have it all cataloged. I don't know if that papers are still around. They're telling me.
But now
I put them on every now and they still work. I still watch those beta tapes and VHS tapes. All that stuff works. I got machines for all that stuff.
Okay, moving right along. Kent Griffith, which is cagey, and anybody wants to, he's got like some long comments, and I can't read all of those, but he does have some interesting comments. So if you guys see cagey on there, go and look at what he comments. And this one here, he says he loves Gene, but it's bullshit that Alan was sentenced to 15 years. Craig, I don't know if you remember what Gene said in the interview or if you even watched it, but he said something about Alan was sentenced to 15 years, but he got him out of it or something. And Kent says he was at Alan's house the day of the car wreck.
I wouldn't, you know what? I don't know for
killed.
sure. Chad might know. I wouldn't know for sure. But I wouldn't doubt it because I know Alan was obligated to go do talks to people, alcoholics and stuff. He was obligated to go talk to people about how messed up it was to be messed up, and how it messed his life up, and because God, that you could get through to a lot of alcoholics and stuff, having Alan Collins sitting there in a wheelchair, telling telling you how that stuff will ruin your life.
One thing about Gene is, I think for the most part, I'm not going to say Gene's accurate because I'm sure nobody's perfect about what they talk about, but I think he really believes what he's saying. Whether he, heard it from somebody else and he's just repeating it, but we report, you decide. Just because Gene says something doesn't make it true. But a lot of people do like to hear what Gene has to say. And I think for the most part, most of Gene's stuff is pretty accurate. But I'm sure there's, everybody's got their line of bullshit, And Crazy Bob, I believe it was Rodney Mills from Studio One that found out that Skynyrd tape was backwards.
I think you're right. Man. So I saw somebody said that it was Kevin Elson, but I think it was Rodney. It might have been Kevin, but I think it was Rodney.
Well, Brian Bodkin, we did a Muscle Shoals thing with Brian Bodkin, and he sent me a message the other day, and he did an interview with Jimmy Johnson, and he's going to send that to me. And I'm not going to promise he's going to do it, but usually when he says he's going to do something, he does it. And we'll play that on there because he talks about that whole incident and how it was resolved, and then I think the whole thing about how Ronnie was pissed off about it. And yeah, I'd be curious to hear that. So I think he's going to mail that to me in a thumb drive or something. And as soon as I get it, I'll put it up on the podcast and we'll take a look at that. James King, Gene had some scathing comments about Gary. Craig, did you see that side of Gary?
Personally, I never did, no. But, kind of toward other people, yeah. Yeah, kind of did. Never toward me, but toward other people, yeah. I saw a side of, where he could be pretty.
Well, Gene said the guy went home and killed himself because Gary wouldn't shake his hand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, wow. That's pretty graphic.
No, I never saw that part of Gary where he wouldn't shake nobody's hand.
I don't think.
Saw him,
I don't think Gary, if Gary knew somebody was that, into him, I'm sure he would probably feel bad about it. But
yeah, no, I've just seen Gary a little bit vindictive over a couple of things. That's all.
Yeah,
No,
well,
never,
nobody's
never
perfect.
toward other people. I've seen him be a little vindictive. Yeah.
I
But
think there.
Man, I was best friends with Gary. I loved Gary, man. I never,
I think at the end of his life, and talking to some people that I know that knew him, um, he, I think he, when he knew he was dying or pretty much didn't have much time left, that he kind of tried to make amends with people. I think that's why he called you, Craig.
yeah,
Right.
he called me. He called me and, and said, man, I heard, that, people said that their people in the band or whatever are mad because you're doing that podcast. He goes, Craig, I don't care what what you say.
Yeah.
I'm not, you know me as well as anybody, and I'm not afraid of anything you would say about me. I don't have nothing to hide. It's
Yeah.
true, I've never said anything bad about Gary, and I just said, I've seen parts of Gary that, weren't, like probably the Bible would tell you to be, but I've seen him be a little vindictive. But Gary was a great guy, man.
Yeah, and he called Timmy up. Timmy, the guy that took care of his horse.
Oh yeah, Tim.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he called him up and apologized to him for. I
Oh
guess
yeah.
they had some kind of an argument, and so and then he was trying to get a hold of Joe Crimp, and I gave Gary the number. I actually gave Gary Joe's number, and then he called Timmy and tried to, because he lost the number.
Well, when
But
you saw Gary, you were trying to get him, and when you said, "Hey, Joe Crump said hi,"
yeah,
he went, "Oh, wow, Joe," and he wanted to talk to you, and
yeah.
his security was
Yeah, they were
moving
rushing
on.
him down. He turned around and came back, and he had grabbed a hold of my hand, and they were pulling him away from me, and he had a hold of my hand and wanting to talk about Joe. He was like, "How's Joe doing?" And stuff like that. And I said, "Well, here's his number," and I gave him the number, and of course, you know, I mean, he had to go out on stage and play. Who knows what he did? He probably gave that number to somebody and forgot all about it. But he tried to get it back. He tried to call Joe, and he never got around to it for whatever reason. But
That's bad. That's bad when when I would always be around Gary there. You could tell when he wanted to talk to somebody. And you could tell when he was just trying to be friendly with him, and
yeah,
if we needed
right.
to go, but you could tell when he was seriously going, oh yeah, man,
Yeah, he was
and
really interested in
whoever
talking.
whoever was with him that day didn't catch that.
Yeah, he was I guess they were taking him, when you get that ticket that gets you backstage and then you take pictures with him, and they were rushing him back there to take pictures with the VIPs, which I was a VIP, but I just didn't go taking pictures with them.
Yeah,
But
there's a time when you would brush him along, but there's a time when you kind of let him be a part of the real world.
yeah,
You got to people to have people there that know what's going on.
well, those guys, they were normal guys, they were country boys, and I think they never lost that about them. I think if they liked you, they didn't discriminate against anybody.
No,
You
Gary was a
know,
good guy, man. He was.
yeah. But I'm sure that some of the stuff that Gene said, I mean, who knows
But
what
like
kind
I
of,
said, he said some shitty things about Artemis.
yeah,
When about the airplane crash, he said Artemis was a coward and ran away and stuff. And then he felt bad about that. So he said some stuff that wasn't really appropriate.
yeah. I mean, we all have had our times. Well, Larry Tate says the wake and bake mug really looks like it hits good.
He does, yeah, it works. Yeah.
Yeah, what a good
Those
idea.
bongs, those water pipes were too. Oh, I called. Who was it? The last winter. Yeah, I saw it. He messaged. I just saw his number and I just called him and talked to him a minute.
Called who?
The winner, the El Kabong
Oh
name.
yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I called him and I like the name. I do. I like El
yeah, that's
Kabong.
Tom Hills.
Yeah, Tom Hills. Yeah.
Tom Hills. Which actually, I've got a comment right here. It just happens to fall right in line.
Oh, how about
He goes
that?
by Gonzo.
Yeah,
Gonzo
yeah, yeah,
says,
Gonzo. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I see him a lot on FakeBook, and then I saw who it was. I goes, oh yeah,
yeah,
cool. Glad it was him. Yeah.
yeah. See, he says it was me that won the bong. Can't wait to put that baby to use. Well, it works. It works
Yeah, it
good.
works
I'll tell you
good.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then Cheesehead says if Craig ever goes through his shit, Griff needs to be there, and it should be on a major news network. And then Susan McMaster wants to know, Craig, who took care of Alan's kids after his accident?
His niece.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What was her name? No, it was Kathy's niece. Yeah, it was Kathy's niece.
Kathy's niece.
Mm-hmm. And her name was God. I can't believe I can't remember.
I actually ran into a guy when I lived over in Brevard County. There was a guy, he came out to survey my property, and he came in the house and he saw a bunch of Lynyrd Skynyrd stuff that I had, and he goes, I used to watch Alan Collins' kids. My wife and I did. And I was like, really? And he goes, yeah. He goes, when I lived in Jacksonville, and he says, my wife used to babysit Alan's kids, which I thought that was kind of ironic. And he was talking, some stories about Alan and stuff, which was really coincidental. Let me see here. David Hester says he was at the Skynyrd concert when Alan was playing his lead solo, and it was an outdoor venue. A big fireworks display was going off while Alan was in the middle of his lead solo. And he says, I believe it was Goose Creek Symphony and Montrose that opened up for him. And they were the opening bands. Craig, do you remember that?
Oh, I remember a few shows that Montrose opened up, but
With fireworks?
no, not specifically with fireworks.
Yeah, he said that they were going off while
Well, that
Alan
was
was doing the
fireworks
lead.
going off so much. I didn't pay no attention to fireworks.
Yeah. Then Roger Johnson says he thinks it was Kevin Elson that discovered the tape was backwards, which I think
Yeah,
it,
I saw that one. I think it was Rodney.
yeah, that's what I heard. Triple R, Triple T. If the moon landing was fake, why did the Soviets allow us to get away with it? Well, maybe they're in on
It's a
it.
treaty. It's a. I don't know. I don't know nothing. God, I got brain damage. From what I understand, there's just 3 or 4 or 5, 6 families that have controlled everything for a long time, and they're just writing this big script, and they feed it out to us, and we just follow it. We don't know what the hell's going on. These people, these 6 companies made, at least $100 billion last year in profit, and then it's just odd that we're so far in debt. It's just
All I can say is
the deck is stacked.
all I can say is
anybody that ain't figured out the deck is stacked that's why we're in the condition we're in.
yeah.
God.
Only thing I can say is I smell a rat on everything
Oh,
anymore.
everything's bullshit. Everything
Yeah,
we've been told is bullshit.
it's just I don't believe anything anymore, you know. And if somebody tells me something that sounds like outrageous, I'm not going to discount it because I've seen too many things that are bullshit that I thought were real. So I'm not going to believe anything anymore.
It's
Nothing's
like
going to surprise me.
what are they hiding in the Grand Canyon? There's stuff in the Grand Canyon we're not allowed to see. Why? Who decided that we're not allowed to see this stuff?
No, I didn't know
No,
about the
it's
new one for me.
oh, there's supposed to be stuff in the Grand Canyon we're not allowed to see. There's stuff at the South Pole we're not allowed to see. Why? I mean, it's crazy. Who
Maybe it's for
decides
your own
who
good.
decides what we're allowed to see? Who decides what us peons are allowed to see? You know, it's I don't know. It's
Well,
weird. I don't I have brain damage, so I can't. It's hard for me to figure this stuff out, man.
well, here's a question for you, Mary Smokey. Tom Kiefer from Cinderella wrote with Gary. Craig, what songs did they co-write together?
I don't remember. They didn't co-write any together that were ever published.
No.
They just got together and tried to write. Gary and Travis tri- uh, got together and tried to write, and I don't remember what song. There was a song that they came up with. I don't remember. I don't even know if he's ever was given credit for doing a song with Gary, but they tried. He tried with Travis and with Tom. I was there both times.
Oh,
I
cool.
was running. I was there the whole time. I was running the machine, the recording machines. What went down there with
Did it
them.
sound good to you?
Yeah, at the time Tom Kiefer was down there, he couldn't sing. I mean, he could sing as good as I sing, you know,
Well, Gary can't
which
sing
says a
either.
lot. Well, no, but he couldn't sing. His voice was screwed up, so he
Oh,
couldn't.
oh.
He could just try to sing. This is like what I try to do. He could only, you know, he couldn't really sing, but he's a good guitar player, and he can still write, and he can try to sing, but he couldn't really sing at that time. He couldn't sing. He could like sing like I do, you know.
Yeah.
But
Well,
which is
I heard that
shit.
Alan could actually sing pretty good. Somebody
I
told
never
me.
heard Alan try to sing, you
Yeah,
know.
somebody told me. I think it might have been Kent Griffith told me that. But
No, I never
maybe he's
heard
got a
Alan
recording
sing.
of it. That'd be nice. I might even have it in these discs. I don't know. Kent, man, let me know if I've got a recording of that and I'll put it on. Then the final comment actually is Kimmy. And this is words of wisdom from Kimmy. Of course, we had like 225 comments, and Kimmy was probably 100 of them. And you know, we appreciate all your comments, Kimmy. And Kimmy says, you can't determine a person's intellect based on anything. That almost sounds like a
That's
like a
pretty philosophical. I think that's the correct word.
that's almost
In my opinion.
like a Kamala thing. It's it goes unburdened by what has been.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, Kimmy, I'll have to keep that in mind. You can't determine a person's intellect based on anything.
That's kind of true. It makes sense to me. Of
Yeah,
course,
I
I
guess
have
it
brain damage, you know.
is. Well, that's it on all the comments, Craig, and we'll jump into the Gene Odom Part 7, the final episode of Gene Odom, and uh, and then we'll see you Wednesday morning.
All right. Dang it.
And happy trails to you.
Well, I can't. I don't have my. Oh, there it is over here. Okay, cool. All right. That was podcast number 202 of the Stoned Roadies show. Wake and Bake episode number 81. See you later, alligator at the Wild Crocodile. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Cut.
All right, let's move on to Ronnie. And if we got time, we'll do the honkettes. Let's see how this battery holds out for me. So Ronnie Van Zant, just to wrap up the band members, talk a little bit about Ronnie.
Make this whole long story short, to put the heart in the middle of it, Ronnie Van Zant hated where he came from. He hated Shantytown. And he was better than Shantytown, and his desire was to get the hell out of there. And he wanted to do something for success. Like the first thing was he loved old Cassius Clay. Like I told people, he wanted to be a boxer. And so he got some gloves, and I think I was, at the time, I think I was picking up Coke bottles to get me some RC Cola, moon pie money. And he put the gloves on, and one of the boys that lived in the neighborhood, Estes Godwin, was 2 or 3 years older than us, short, stocky, tough guy. Old country guy, tough as hell. So Ronnie tells Estes to put the gloves on. He's going to beat the hell out of him. Estes puts the gloves on and stomps the piss out of Ronnie. So that ended Ronnie Van Zant's Cassius Clay boxer desire. That one ass whipping changed his mind about that. So he was going to Lee High School, and he loved the Green Bay Packers, and he loved old black running back Jim Brown. And so Ronnie's going to be a high school star, football star. He's going to be a football hero. And he makes the team for the very first practice, the first scrimmage play from practice. Ronnie gets the ball, starts running, gets tackled and breaks his ankle all to hell, and they have to put a couple pins in it. Pins in your ankle makes you 4F.
Yeah.
So you can't be drafted. So he couldn't be drafted.
Plus, you can't play football anymore.
Yeah, and so that was his football career, and so all of his friends were drafted, me included. And so him and Bill Ferris, which Bill Ferris became Ryan's really good friend. I don't think it was Bill Ferris, I think it might have been Jim Daniels, went to see the Rolling Stones. 64 or 65, I think. And so Mick Jagger dancing on stage, and so Ronnie comes back, and I'm gonna be a singer. I'm getting a band, you know. And he bumped into the first ones he bumped into was the guy became a big time lawyer, Steve Rosenblum, Rick Doschler, and Jimmy Parker. Ronnie heard that they had a band were playing, and he went over. Ended up over at Carter's Pharmacy.
Yeah.
And he told one of them, said, "Hey, lead singer, I'm gonna be a singer." And he rehearsed with him a couple of times, but all they wanted to do was play cover tunes, and they wanted to play blues music. And Ronnie said, "No, I want to write music. I want to write our stuff." He said, "No, we don't want to write nothing. We just want to do that." And that's when he hit Bob with the ball, and then found out about Gary and Larry and Bob Burns rehearsing, and became their singer and took over that, running that band. You know?
Now, when you were hanging around with Ronnie when you guys were kids and riding bicycles and playing football and baseball and in the empty lot and stuff like that, did you ever, like, was Ronnie like singing stuff? Was he like making songs up? Was there anything that led you to believe that, hey man, this guy's talented?
Well, when they first started out, they were playing other people's material. Like I tell people, you wanted to see the real Ronnie Van Zant, you should have seen him You should have watched him singing Sam the Sham and the Pharaoh's Woolly Bully. He sang the piss out of that song.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, man. And they would play fraternity parties and all that stuff, and then they had to, you had to play the music that you were playing. And back then they wasn't writing their own music and stuff. They were playing the Stones, playing the Beatles, Eric Clapton, and Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs, Woolly Bully.
But did you ever like read any of Ronnie's poetry? Because he was like always doing poetry.
His buddy Bill Ferris has got several pieces that Ronnie wrote when he was in Lee High School. And he had that same fancy handwriting back then. And Bill Ferris has got a couple of poems that Ronnie wrote. Ronnie put, after that, most of all his stuff he just kept in his head, all his songs and stuff like that. When he started listening to the music and putting it together, he kept everything in his head. So
you have to be sometimes, Gene, like when you're going down, and you and I have witnessed, because I remember one time we were going down the road and I said, "Does that radio work, Gene? That was in your Volkswagen." And you go, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, turn it on." And you go, "You know what? When I turn this radio on, there's going to be a Lynyrd Skynyrd song on there." And I said, "Get out of here." And you go, "I'm telling you, it happens every time." And when you turn that on, I about shit, because it was a Lynyrd Skynyrd song. We both had to sit there and be quiet because, you know, you called it before it happened. But when you hear stuff like that, where does your mind go? You know, do you think about, you know, when you guys were kids hanging out and before you even had a clue as to what was going to happen, you know, you were hanging around with this greatest songwriter in Southern rock and roll, you know?
When I hear that, you know, there's a station in Ocala that has made their mark by playing Southern rock, Lynyrd Skynyrd, even today. And they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and they've made it off Southern rock, Lynyrd Skynyrd and Molly Hatchet and all them songs. When you hear that, it brings back, I can go back as far as I want to. When I hear the song, I have to kind of
pinch
myself and have to not think about so much of the past and all that stuff, because it's, you know, it affects me. And so it's amazing to have been a very small part of that. And 47 years after the death of Ronnie, his music is still played every single day across this country, multiple times. And to know him, be an old fishing buddy and hang out.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, thinking back, you had to think about times when you guys like camping out together and being on a boat, fishing, talking, and you know, when you were just kids and you had no idea that you were hanging around with an icon that one day was going to be so popular and so famous for all of his lyrics and for running that band. And you know, I'm sure you probably think back to yourself and go, "Man, I just had no idea what was getting ready to happen with this guy." And you didn't realize how talented that he was, huh?
In 75, no, 75, I think it was 75. After he got me to be Mick Jagger's bodyguard in 75. At the end of 75, it might have been 76 or 75. Anyway, I was laid off, and he come by, we went fishing or something, and he said, "Hey man, you're laid off?" I said, "Yeah, it'll be a few weeks before our job starts." "All right, well, we're going, got a week's tour up north." And we went up there, and way up New England, way up there. Snow deep, and I'm driving that bus, and I'm sitting in the seat across from the driver, and I'm looking out the window, and there's people 20 miles down the road with signs going, "Need Skynyrd tickets, need tickets." And Ronnie, I went, "Them people 20 miles away standing in snow up to their knees, begging and wanting to I said, he said, "Yeah," he said, "Man," he said, "we're getting pretty big, Gene." I said, "Damn," I said, 20 miles away, asking for tickets. I said, yeah, he said, we can. Anyway, we got to the gig, it was sold out. Big, huge stadium or something, sold out. And I was, wow,
That's when you realized.
That's when I realized that they were really getting the big time, you know.
All right, well, just to wrap things up, let's, in just a few words, describe each one of the Hawkettes. Let's start with JoJo.
JoJo was a good singer, and she was part of the Hawkettes, and she was, her downfall was getting too, spelled T-O-O-O-O-O, involved with one of the band members. That was her downfall.
Yeah, but great personality.
Yeah, a wild thing.
Wild gal.
And the influence that she had, that's not the right word. The influence that was, and I don't know, put on her by a member of the band, and she was acceptant to it to the point that it was a wild situation. But she was a good girl, a good.
She just kind of got caught up in some stuff there.
You do that in that situation,
and a lot of people would.
Yeah, and if that situation is manifested, if that's the right word, by another individual, and yeah, but she was a good gal.
Okay, and Cassie Gaines.
Cassie Gaines was an old hippie type chick. She was as sweet as she could be, strictly business, and loved her job, you know, and had loved old jewelry, old clothes. She was an old classic hippie chick, sweet as she could be.
And she is the one that got her brother started in there.
She's the one that got her brother part of the band, yeah.
Which they didn't believe her. They were like, okay, you know, everybody's got a brother that wants to play.
She knew what Steve was. She knew what she
knew.
had.
And boy, I bet they're glad they listened, you know.
Man, I'm telling you what, Ronnie Van Zant said he was the best thing that ever happened to that band.
Yeah.
Boom,
and I'm kind of working on doing a little something, a little special on Steve Gaines. I'm kind of working on that. So Leslie Hawkins, which I've met Leslie, and you know, there's not too many people I've met.
Let me stop you right there.
Okay.
They're having a big thing out there in Steve Gaines' hometown, September 14th, his birthday.
Yeah, I know about that.
At the Coleman Theater, I've been invited.
Yeah, I've been invited to that too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
Lone Star Skynyrd.
I was going to tell you that.
Yeah.
Come on, yeah, okay.
Yeah, we'll have to hook up on that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So yeah, Leslie, and like I said, you know, when I was a kid, I met Ed King, and it was either Dean Kilpatrick or Alan Collins. I couldn't remember. I just know they both had the same hair. But Leslie, and I got invited to her house, and she's a sweetheart. And I got a special place in my mind and my heart for Leslie. But yeah, let's just talk a little bit about Leslie.
Leslie was the foreman of the girls, and she ran the girls, haves and haves, needs and stuff like that, and she was kind of like over the girls. And great singer, a good person, me and her are still friends today. She was married to, back then, a couple of rowdies from the Union, and so she knows a lot about business that was handled, and people who handled it, but I like Leslie.
Yeah, she's been through a lot, man. She's a tough gal.
She is.
You know, but there's not anybody that's surrounded with Lynyrd, you know, anything to do with Lynyrd Skynyrd that isn't tough.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know what it is. It's, I guess when you've been through so much stuff like that band has, you have to be tough.
Yeah.
If you were any part of Lynyrd Skynyrd, then for any significant amount of time, you had to be tough.
No doubt about it. She had a couple of bad automobile accidents after the crash also.
Yeah,
She had it pretty tough.
Yeah, so, okay, Gene, well, that's going to wrap this up. And, of course, I'm at Gene's house, and we talked a lot about a lot of things, all the way from Hell House and the original trestle that was made into the dock, and we got to see some of the Hell House wood. And Gene did a good summary on all the guys in the band, kind of got us all caught up, and we appreciate it, Gene. And I'm sure all these viewers on the podcast are going to be ecstatic because they keep saying, more Gene Odom, more Gene Odom.
This is going to be on the podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, cool, man.
Might have to be in several parts, but yeah, so.
Yeah, appreciate you coming down and doing it, you know.
All right, Gene.
I understand the podcast is people loving it.
Yeah, well, you know, Craig, I'm kind of like the guy who drags the stuff out of Craig's head, and people don't realize that ain't too easy, you know.
I mean, not a smoked up head like that, you know.
Well, you know, you got to be patient, you know, and Craig likes to talk about fat women and stuff like that, and you know, that's not a good topic for a podcast, but he insists. And so, you know, and then we'll be talking about something, and all of a sudden a little memory will jog loose in his mind about Lynyrd Skynyrd. So it's kind of like, you know, you're out in a gold mine and you're sifting, or you're out in a creek sifting for gold, and every now and then you get a little nugget, you know, and so we call that skin formation.
Skin formation. Craig's got a lot of stuff, a lot of stories and stuff.
Yeah, he does, and it's a good thing he's doing, you know, helping his fellow survivors out.
Oh my God, he helps me. That money that he sent me, it just helps a lot, you know.
Yeah, and the donors that give to the podcast, I mean, there are some very generous people, and you know,
Are you recording this?
Yeah, yeah.
But this goes out to the donors and, you know, people, folks like me. I appreciate what y'all doing, you know. And like I told him, I said, I've been on Social Security for 34 years, you know, and I'm not part of that more rich band members and stuff like that, you know, and every little penny I get helps a lot. And I appreciate you folks being a part of this podcast and being donating and chipping in whatever you do it.
Well, you know, they know that you and I are friends, and they're always, hey, we need more Gene Odom. We need more Gene Odom. And so anytime that, you know, I get a chance, I hook up with you, and then stick the camera in Gene's face again. He's good about it. He's always good about it, though.
Anytime.
All right, Gene. Well, we're going to wrap it up, and appreciate it. And I think when I get started, I might be running through a little rain. Yeah, I've heard a little thunder out there.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Gene.
Hey, no, thank you, Griff.